Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Cancer. If Cancer is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Let's see, what do we have going on here tonight? What do these tea leaves have to say? Okay, and so our card is the Hermit. Sorry, I was getting lost in looking at this for a second here. Okay. I hope you all are doing well. Oh, well, that's interesting. Look at that. We have quite a portrait right here. It looks like kind of the side profile of somebody, their eye and maybe their nose or mouth over here. They look like they're kind of looking right at us. Kind of almost reminds me of an old-timey picture. Huh. Not often do I get such a clear look at somebody. So it feels like, I mean, you know, I can't help but think that this is somebody's relative, maybe, that has passed, somebody's, they just have a very kind of, it looks like it looks almost like a skeleton, but still with the hair. I don't know. It's like kind of real grim looking. And this gaze, right? It almost looks like, it's really unsettling, honestly. It is very unsettling. It really makes me feel like there's somebody that had a difficult transition. Maybe they had a difficult life. And, you know, they weren't ready to go. And, you know, it just kind of is that, you know, and honestly, it is amazing to me. And I say this as somebody who finds a lot of reasons to complain every day. But it is amazing to me that we find life so difficult. Although, you know, yes, our circumstances vary. We all have had problems and, you know, losses and you know, gone through some terrible things. And probably will continue to, because, you know, if you're alive, you know, things go wrong. I mean, that's life. But you think about how people lived even, you know, 150 years ago. And especially I think about the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And mostly because this is, you know, it's not that long ago, really. But how tough life really was for everybody. Most people. There were not a lot of comforts. People literally worked themselves to death. And this is true of all times. and humanity. I mean, you know, these things have always kind of been there. But, you know, I think about these waves of just, you know, a lot of collective movement forward, but on, you know, at the loss of so many people's lives and quality of lives, right? And so, I don't know, you know, you see these kind of really haunting images of people, and especially like when they first started taking portraits, and those ones that they would take with the magic lantern, which was like the predecessor to the modern camera, and you would sit, and even the early cameras sit for, it could 15 minutes maybe, and that's why a lot of people weren't smiling as well, because they had to sit, you know, and it's more comfortable to kind of have these kind of, you know, stern looking faces, I suppose. So, I look at this and I feel, my goodness, there is quite an energy. And I wonder, have you felt this? Is this something that is showing up in your life? Have they kind of, you know, appeared in your home, in the patterns, the synchronicities? Have you had dreams about this person? Maybe you don't know them. Maybe this is like a great grandparent, or maybe, you know, it could be somebody who's still alive. I don't know, but there's quite an energy there. We'll take a look at that again. If you want to kind of just look again, it looks, I don't know that I've had one that's quite that clear. Okay, so we have the Hermit tonight. And I do feel that there is this kind of pull away from things. Which is not uncommon, right, for Cancer, not by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, and so I see a person who is on a boat. You can see this glorious boat. It looks like maybe a kind of a, a really short, deep, kind of Viking boat or something. Maybe one of those ancient Greek boats. But it looks like it has some kind of animal carved into the front. And we have somebody on there by themselves, okay? And so here we are with our movement out into that great unconscious place alone. And, you know, I think this makes sense. You know, Cancer is really good. You all are really good at going into an unknown world all by your lonesome. You go deep into yourself, deep into that interior landscape. Maybe you are actually, you know, getting in your car, on a bus, on a train, you know, on a plane, whatever it is, all by yourself, maybe going on a little journey. I think there's a sense of needing space and soul searching. I don't think that this was planned necessarily, but I think that there's been really a shift towards heart healing, okay? And finding some much needed compassion for yourself. I think that sometimes you all can have the tendency when you live among others, especially other people who have big emotions, who are maybe more loud or have, you know, kind of more, I'm going to say dominant, but, you know, just kind of take over the situation. Somebody's a little more, you know, willing to kind of step in and, you know, get things going how they're going. And I think that it's not that you don't have your own way of doing things. Of course you do. But I think that you go along with the flow most of the time, if you have space for yourself. If you are, you know, given the room for you to kind of do what you need to do. But I think that, you know, when you live or kind of dwell in a world full of people who you kind of, it's not taking on their emotions, but your emotions kind of get silenced, I think. And so, you know, there are these moments where I can see that some anger comes up, you know, frustration. You know, you feel like maybe the things that you say aren't being heard. But I think that sometimes too, you have a beautiful way of saying a lot without actually saying what you're feeling. So sometimes I think it's hard for others to maybe know exactly what you mean or exactly what you want. And that can be, you know, that can cause some conflict. So I think that it makes sense you want to kind of get away for a while. Get your head straight. Get your emotions straight. And so I see this little journey, right? And I see we have a phallic symbol on this side. And so it tells me that this will be a very fruitful reprieve. Journey, reprieve, quest, whatever it is. I think that, you know, it's kind of like a reset for you. And I think that you're going to be bringing back some interesting inspirations, ideas, maybe a new passion for something. Whatever it is, I think you're going to be ready to kind of get right back into the work that you're doing. And so if this is, you know, you're going away for a night to go sleep in a quiet hotel, or if you are going to be gone for, you know, 6 months off to, like, you know, Iceland or something, whatever it is, I do believe this is a good idea. It's a good idea. Okay, so we also have what it looks like a dog who is jumping up. Okay, and it's about to grab something. Trying to, at least. Get its teeth sunken in there. And this is coming from the spiritual zone up into the emotional, up into the physical. So I feel like there is just really this dogged, what's the word? Just a devotion. Nothing is going to deter you from getting a hold of this thing that you know that you want. Okay? And I fully believe that this has to do with finding clarity, finding a way to more efficiently do your work. Okay, but the most important thing, I think, is finding a new source of inspiration. I feel like you've been looking, and you've done well, right? You've been creating a lot. You've been successful in your endeavors, monetary, emotional, psychic, your love, your domestic life. I think a lot of good things happening in all of these spheres. I do think, though, there's been a lot of emphasis on your health. Okay. And I don't think there's maybe even a particular problem per se, but I think that you've been conscious about how you've been feeling. The passage of time, you've just had a birthday not too long ago, right? Thinking about what am I going to, feel like? What is, my stamina, vitality, energy levels? What are these going to look like in 5 or 10 years? So I think that there is a movement towards, doing something to consistently work on these things. And, I really think that this is just mostly based around wanting to feel okay, to be comfortable in your body as much as you can be, as much as anyone can be, right? And I think that, we all we go through these periods of time. I do often. When I was young, I've always had up and down weight and things like that, but I've never been athletic. And so as I'm getting older, I have to force myself to do different kinds of intentional movement, and I have ADHD. So my whole life I've been trying to figure out how to do repetitive things that don't make me go wild in my brain. And so thankfully, I've found some things that are helpful. And recently I've been doing a lot of rowing. So for whatever reason, I think it's the sound of the water when I'm rowing that it really, it makes it less difficult for myself. But I think that we definitely, we all go through these moments. And so I think it's important for us to find things that really, make sense to to our goals, what feels interesting to us. And I'm trying to think. I was thinking Tai Chi, but here we go again. I'm actually going to ask I'm going to ask my phone real quick here. What is it I'm thinking of? Because I really want to, and it is Tai Chi. Oh, and that's the other one that was what I was thinking of. And I'm totally going to, I shouldn't even say it because I will get it wrong, but I think it's Qui-Gong. And that's the one I was thinking of. But kind of these slower, intentional postures and movements. Now go and look these up. If if you live in a major city in North America, at least, in the major cities, really not in the Midwest so much, but maybe like Chicago, but you will see people in the parks doing Tai Chi, Qui-Gong, and or on the beach, which sounds lovely. But yeah, go look these up. These kind of low impact type of intentional movements. And I am not, you know, this isn't a place where I'm going to like promote a lot of exercise. I don't like to even call it exercise. I like to say intentional movement, because I think it's just, you know, it can be anything. Taking out the trash. It can be, you know, here's one that's kind of embarrassing because it sounds funny if you think about it. But I, like during the winters, I walk in place a lot in my own house, and I have for years, because I don't always want to go out in like negative 15-degree weather to go to the indoor mall, you know, to walk around. So I just started, and I couldn't really afford a nice, what's it called? Like oh my God, like a step machine, or, brain is ridiculous. You know what? It's getting it's so late. But yeah, so I just started walking in place, and that, you know, I still do it. I'm not gonna lie, I really do. But you know, we find a way, right? We make it work. We make it work. Okay, so I want to look at this one. We have what looks like it looks like a little angel. There's a little kind of the choir robe and the little wing and the arm up, and I see them holding kind of a candle. And over here I see it looks like a person and a star. So I feel like there is this movement towards, I mean, you know, illumination, of course, but just finding a sense of peace and grace in your life. Okay, I think that there's really, you know, beyond the desire of everything else, I mean, at the core of it, there is a desire for ease, a desire for kind of that beautiful, kind of soft light in the night, that ability to just find moments of deep contentment, okay, alignment with that thing, where it's, you know, I feel like it's like, you know, falling asleep when you're young, really, when you're a child, and you fall asleep in the car. It's nice and warm in there. You get home, your parents, mom, dad, caregiver, grandma, grandpa, whoever feels very safe. They open the car door and they pick you up. You put your head on their shoulder, and they carry you into the house and get you tucked into bed. You barely wake up, and you just feel safe. Tired, loved, safe. It's okay to fall asleep. It's okay to stay asleep. You're being watched out over. And there's this feeling for that kind of, you know, safety, freedom, to be held by the universe, you know, but also to be the person doing the holding, to be that kind of being for others, for your family, for your chosen people, to be able to, you know, shine light into the lives of others, help them through the things that they need to be, you know, to find some kind of hope in a dire situation, some kind of healing, to be kind of a star for them. I don't mean fame, right? But just somebody to help guide. And see, the thing though with a Cancer, I don't think that it's really very often a direct guidance. It is guiding by how you live, guiding by how you treat other people, guiding by how you treat yourself. And so I think when you go into these moments of separation from everything, this isn't about, I can't stand this anymore, I have to get out of here, running from life. This is about finding a space for yourself so you can refocus your mind, body, soul. Because you have important work to do, and you know that. And I think anybody around you that loves you and tries to understand you knows that as well. Okay. Now, I want to look at this one. And it's missing its legs, but they're there. You just can't see them. It looks like a giant spider. And its little eyes, and it's got the little, mouth. And the big old body. And this is important. One of my most sacred mixtures of, not mixtures, but paired animal totems is the spider sitting upon the crab. And so I feel a spider will meet you and make a friend of you, and you shall make a friend of them. Okay? So if you have a spider that you know and that you care about, that's this. We have a little heart. And maybe you haven't met them yet. Maybe you haven't, come to this realization yet. But they're looking out for you always and always and always. There is an undying love there. Okay. Now let's take a look over here. We don't have a lot. But we have some emotions. Oh no, Cancer, not the emotions. But you know what? I think if you are going to be embarking on your own little, solo journey, if that is interior, if that is exterior, if that is both, you have space to do a little bit of, emotion dumping, being in it, swimming in it. I don't know how often you all cry, but maybe like one little tear for the next decade. All right. And I'm sorry. I like to give you all a hard time. I love it. If you've ever seen any of my other Cancer videos, I love Cancers. I don't like to pick favorites of signs, solar signs, any major Cancer placement, but I have to say I get along with Cancers the best out of anybody. And so I feel I've had some wonderful friendships, and I'm married to a Cancer, so yeah. All right, let's see. We have the Wild Bohemian Affirmation cards. Okay, so these are the fire element ones. We used these a few weeks ago, and I have 4 decks, all of the elements, of course, and we're back to the fire, and I really like these, so I'm using them again. I have to decide if I go forward, if I'm going to use some other kind of affirmation or oracle or whatever. Okay, let's see. I am seer. Contemplate all of your gifts and siddhis. I had trouble saying this last time, so forgive me. If you have watched any of my other readings, you know I mispronounce things constantly. I'm at a place where I try my best, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody, but, it's just part of my... I don't even know. I think, I've said this before. I think it's because I've read most of the things that I've learned myself. I didn't go to college I went to art stuff for college, and didn't finish, by the way. But I'm self-learned, and there's so many words I've never heard anybody say before, and I just kind of make up my own pronunciations, and Yeah, that's, you'll have to bear with me. All right. Contemplate all of your gifts and siddhis. You are more than you know. All right. I think that, and I looked this up last time. I think I looked it up not during the thing. This is a new one for me to be getting my phone out and looking. So these are supernatural or psychic power. Oh, supernatural powers by psychic and magical means. So, extrasensory abilities, things that you have mastered through deep work. I mean, you know, I think this makes sense with the Hermit. You know, going off into your own space, looking for those interior things. You know, I think they, I don't know, you know, I talk little really about, the occult processes or initiations or, you know, magical systems and stuff, which, mostly because I'm not qualified to talk about a lot of these things, but I have quite a background in, some of those worlds, and, but I am, you know, a self-initiated solitary practitioner, although that's changed a little since I've met my husband, and so seeing a card like this talking about you kind of going off on your little self journey, and we have the Hermit, okay, it makes sense to me that you probably are somebody who excels in solitary work. And so I do think, now seeing this card, that there must be a real desire to hone some kind of gift or skill you have cultivated and continue to do so. And so, you know, I'm interested if anybody wants to share what that looks like for you. What kinds of things do you have going on? Are you clairvoyant? Do you divine? You know, do you have visions? Are you a manifester? Whatever, I mean, you know, whatever you kind of identify with, and whatever jargon you identify with, you know, all these different systems have kind of slightly different kind of definitions or implied meanings and things. So I'm always interested in hearing about these things from all of you. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm, and that helps us get the channel growing, the videos out further, and recommendations and things like that. Liking the video, sharing the video on other social media platforms, watching the readings from the beginning to the end are some of the ways that you can really support the channel. If you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. And if you want to leave a comment, please do. I have plenty of things I forgot the words for tonight. Again, last night. Last night I was talking about Charlie Sheen, and I could only think of Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, but more importantly, he was wonderful in a series called Black Jesus. Go look that up. That's a great show. And of course, the Chappelle Show. So anyhow, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. We will talk in just a few days.